Now that the Infinity Saga has finished, me and Lou were having a conversation about what we didn't like about it in particular. And mostly it was the villains that they chose.
So bad. Villains are so bad in Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, there wasn't that many. I can only think of a couple that really stood out in my mind.
You know, you've got a problem with where your one biggest villain is a villain that you've had to spend about 20 films building up to.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, exactly. So today we made a list of a top 5 Marvel villains not in the MCU.
Yet. Not in the MCU yet.
So dramatic there. Thanks for that dramatic effect, Lou. So our number 5 pick was Red Hulk, which first appeared in the Hulk issue 1 in the 2008 run. Now, technically, Red Hulk is already in the MCU. He's Thaddeus Ross, who appeared in the Incredible Hulk film, Civil War, and the upcoming Black Widow film.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, so he's been around. There was a massive gap where he wasn't, but he's coming up in these recent films. Yeah, ultimately, I want him in there because it will help pick up Bruce's and the Hulk's story. I feel like out of all the Avengers, he's had the least.
He's done dirty.
Yeah, he's had the least character development, and I think it's kind of.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of poo, to be honest. It's kind of poor.
Yeah. I know there's been some obvious. I think I don't know how many says, but I think it's Universal that has the actual production rights or something to an actual Hulk movie.
Oh, really?
Is it Universal? It's one of the movie studios. I can't remember which one, but I think that's definitely a reason why Marvel's like, okay, we don't want to big up the Hulk too much because then we don't get as much money.
I mean, that's that kind
some
of
of them. I can't remember who, but yeah. But I feel like we got done dirty.
No, we
Hulk
have
in the recent films.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the Red Hulk will help establish that storyline that we want from Bruce, because obviously the Red Hulk has similar powers to Bruce. The only difference is that the Green Hulk gets stronger when he's angrier, and the Red Hulk actually overheats. But because of that,
overheats.
Yeah, he overheats. So like the longer he uses a power, the like his body temperature gets higher and higher, and so
you just put him in cooldown.
No, he actually just like that, like he will damage himself if he's too hot. So
okay.
but the advantage is that like he doesn't go mad, so like he can trigger it on and off. So that's the mental advantage he has, because in Infinity War they kind of done him dirty. They kind of just got rid of the Hulk personality completely, but because of that he didn't really have any strength. He didn't want to fight anything kind of ruthlessly like the Hulk is.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like
he was a bit of a pussy.
yeah, putting it bluntly, yeah, basically, yeah, he was a giant green pussy. He didn't want to fight anything. So I feel like this storyline will help that mental edge.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always adding that in. How could they be introduced there, Dill?
Well, I feel like Thaddeus Ross will be a bit salty after, the whole snap happened. And he would want to make a biological weapon, or, so he would want, and obviously he's been hunting, he hates the Hulk, but so he wants to use that into a government sanction. So I feel like, I feel like it will just be introduced like that. It'll be an easy way for Marvel to do it as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think Hulk just needs a character to I just want to see Hulk destroy stuff with another villain.
Yeah.
He's at his best when he's just smashing. So yeah, a Red Hulk would be a fantastic villain for the Hulk to deal with.
Yeah, he needs another enemy that's in the same power level as him.
So, number 4 on our list, Dylan, is Mr. Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, whose first appearance was back in the Amazing Spider-Man edition 14, all the way back in July 1964. He's been around, the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I love the Green Goblin. He's one of my favourite villains on film, mainly because of the Raimi trilogy. But I think the reason why we would want them in the MCU is because, I mean, Norman Osborn and Oscorp have just always had a massive role in the Marvel universe, and obviously more focused on Spider-Man's universe. It's like, it's like having the Batman without Joker, like Osborn is that sort of character in a way that he's intertwines with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And we've been sort of done dirty with Green Goblin when it comes to films, because, I mean, even though William Dafoe in the original Raimi trilogy was pretty good, obviously, it was essentially just a man in a green plastic suit, and I don't think it's held up that well.
No.
The actual Green Goblin character. So the Norman Osborn character, William Dafoe, was really good, but I thought the Green Goblin character was a bit limited in its time. in how it was put together.
Yeah.
I think introducing Norman Osborn and Green Goblin, it just opens up a lot more possibilities for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think they need to flesh out the Spider-Man a little bit more. All his beefs and whatnot, his stories have revolved around Tony Stark quite a bit, which is fine to a degree, but I think Norman Osborn could be that key to sort of unlock more of Spider-Man's sort of rogue gallery and just flesh out Spider-Man a little bit more and a bit more independent from being Iron Boy or Spider-Boy, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I reckon he'd be important to the MCU. What do you think about it all?
Like, yeah, he's been around for such a long time, so like the Marvel comics have fleshed him out really well. He's a rich person. He influences Marvel so much, and he's an arch nemesis of Spider-Man in the comics as well. So that's what I meant. He's a very complex character, and like you said in the first film, we didn't see a lot of that character development. I mean, they couldn't really with one film. So
yeah, exactly.
This is what we want to do. Like, Marvel, please don't kill him after using him for one film. You need to flesh this character out. This is how you make good villains instead of just killing him off.
Exactly, and how you can introduce him is so easy, because obviously you can just go the route that Oscorp they've been focusing on biological side as opposed to like the military stuff that Stark Industries is known for. And then if you just go down that route, you can say there's like a cure or medicine for people still suffering from the snap or something like that.
Yeah.
And they've got some medicine or cure, and then you can just open up more biological sort of villains for Spider-Man, like Lizard and Rhino and whatnot. So like it can really just open up that Spider-Man universe and really make it stand away from Iron Man a little bit more and make him. It's just Spider-Man, I'd say, is one of the best rogue galleries going, and I think Norman Osborn could be the key to sort of unlocking that all.
No, I like your story a lot, Lou. That's pretty good. Maybe you should be a writer for Marvel films.
I should go to uni and do writing, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, you should. You definitely should. So our number 3 pick was Magneto, and he first appeared in issue 1 of the X-Men comic in 1963. So now with the Fox and Disney merger, I think this will be a great way to introduce the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. Obviously, Magneto's arch nemesis is the X-Men, so you can't have one without the other. It'll be very weird.
Yeah,
and they're really iconic in the comics. So the X-Men are basically like the darker, grittier versions of the Avengers.
Yeah.
And it brings a lot of political sides to it that you don't really see in Avengers apart from Civil War, and the fact that like the mutants are seen as freaks, and Magneto wants to protect them while Charles wants to like coexist with them. So it always brings that great twist, and I think this is another villain that will bring that complexity to the Marvel universe instead of just being, oh, I'm evil, I want to kill everyone without a moral reason.
It's something that they desperately needed. It's just some more complex characters like that, because in this case you wouldn't really think Magneto is a villain if you sort of understand. Obviously his actions and all that will say otherwise, but his purpose and his mentality and sort of motive is pretty honourable. He wants to defend his people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And maybe because of the snap, there'll be more mutants. Maybe that's a way they could introduce mutants.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for the mutants and the X-Men in general to appear in this universe, and it's very exciting to see. I think it will give the series or the Marvel Cinematic Universe that sort of like soft, not reboot, but that soft like kick in the arse that I think it sort of needs a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it will just introduce a really cool new dynamic that we haven't seen in the first 3 phases.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, so how would you introduce this character, deal from the top of your head, just from the snap?
I would introduce it from the snap, and it's interesting because Wanda and Quicksilver was children of Magneto, so maybe Magneto can show up and then Wanda be like, oh shit, it's my dad, and you know, he kind of just oh shit, it's my dad, and
oh shit,
so and then he's kind of mad about what happened to Quicksilver, you know, dying because of Ultron. Maybe he blames Tony about it, and from that he blames S.H.I.E.L.D. And you know,
humans.
Fucking humans. This is why mutants are so much better, you know.
Yeah.
So
that'll be pretty interesting. I'll just oh shit, it's dad.
Oh my god, it's my dad.
Number 2 on our list is Doctor Doom, aka Victor Von Doom, who first appeared in Fantastic Four issue 5 all the way back in July 1962 deal. So obviously Thanos he's sort of done and dusted for now, and I think a lot of Marvel fans will agree that Doctor Doom is more than capable of positioning himself as the next big bad sort of villain to sort of build up towards in comic. He's definitely a sort of character in the comic books just because he's come across so many existing characters such as Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Avengers in general, and obviously Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That he's just capable of becoming that new sort of villain to sort of position as, okay, this is when shit is gonna go down when he comes on the screen, you know?
Yeah.
He could definitely be something. He could be like a Darth Vader sort of character or something in the Marvel universe. I don't know, just because I think of the mask and all that, but he can definitely be that big bad. And I know Doctor Doom is a character that you really like as well, Dill.
No, he's one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. He's actually as smart as Tony Stark and Reed Richards. So he's a very complex, interesting character. Like he's an engineer. He built Doombots, which are basically physical and mental replicas of himself. And he learned the mystic arts and became the Sorcerer Supreme. It's the same as Doctor Strange. So he's just a very clever guy, and it will be interesting to have a person like that hasn't been explored yet, because in the other Fantastic Four films we only saw him as like a jealous person who was just very salty about Reed. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't fleshed out a lot, and you know that the reboot was just absolutely terrible. That reboot was so bad.
Yeah, but this is what I'd like about Doctor Doom, though, if you position him as that sort of next Thanos, is that he's not exactly a super powered titan like Thanos was. He's sort of just human in a way, you know. But his threat is his intelligence. So it would be a case of if Tony Stark / Iron Man decided to be a villain.
Yes, exactly.
This is sort of what you'll get. And I think that's it's a different take from as a big villain compared to Thanos, rather than trying to do a like for like. Yeah, it's sort of a nice twist to it. Yeah, and there's multiple ways you can introduce Doom. So you could basically just pick up where Sokovia was left at the Age of Ultron, whether you can just get a new leader of Sokovia who wants to sort of rebuild the country again, whether they could get annexed from a neighbouring country in Latveria, or maybe the new leader's taken over Sokovia and he wants to bring back the historical name of Latveria, and they've got a lot of grief with the rest of the world and the Avengers in particular. So you can make, rather than not make it like Zemo, you can make Doctor Doom's focus, rather than just having beef with the Avengers, you could also beef with the world governments that have failed his country. Sort of thing. So that's how you can get it on a much bigger scale as well. That he's not just pissed with one group of people. Yeah, exactly. Them aren't around anymore. He's pissed with the world governments and whoever works with them. So in the Doctor Strange, where he protects this Earth, you can sort of go down that route, and I think it would make for a really cool bad villain, a big bad villain to sort of focus on for the next phase of Avenger films. Yeah, no, that's what makes him interesting, because he is very smart, and he basically he thinks he can rule the world just because he knows how intelligent he is, and he is really intelligent. He proves it all the time in the comics. And that's it, and that's why he'll be such a cool villain to have in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Bring him in! Bring me some Doombots!
So our number one pick was Galactus, who first appeared in Fantastic Four issue 48, The Coming of Galactus, in year 1996. So in the comics, Galactus is probably one of the most feared beings, because he's described as a godlike person who just feeds off planets' energies, and he doesn't really operate on judgment of living beings. So basically, if he feels like he needs to kill you, he's gonna kill you. He doesn't care. He doesn't.
I mean, I respect that. He doesn't discriminate which planet he goes.
Yeah, exactly. He's a god. He doesn't think about feelings. He just does what he wants. So the reason he has to he devours planets is actually to keep balance in the universe. So there were three beings that created the Marvel universe. There was Eternity, Death, and then Galactus. Obviously, Eternity brings life. Death obviously brings death, and then Galactus is that in between that has to balance both of them for a healthy universe. So it's basically his job. His job is just to make balance. Something that Thanos wanted to do.
Just balanced life.
Yeah, just balanced life, but he's actually a god, so, and he's actually capable of doing it. So the only reason why like the Avengers and our superheroes find him a villain is because, you know, Galactus has targeted Earth. But he's an interesting character because besides that, you wouldn't really call him a villain. He's just, you know, he's just a very massive cosmic entity, and I think this will help branch out the space part of the MCU as well. We've obviously got Guardians of the Galaxy as well as Thor now in space, but this will also do a better job doing that as well.
Yeah, I think they could definitely, in terms of the scale of battles and whatnot, really just take it up a gear.
Yeah,
the only thing they'd have to be careful with is that you have to sort of, like with what they did so well with Thanos, is that he was such a good villain. He was really complex and that such. It'll be interesting to see how they would sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, transfer that sort of complexity from the character itself to the audience watching, rather than this guy is just going around eating up planets, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see how they would introduce a Galactus like that. I mean, it sort of makes sense of the Marvel universe with Earth of being such a hotspot for Infinity Stones and whatnot. So it's probably looking like a very nice snack right now. There's too much shit going down on Earth. It's better just to take it out.
Maybe he was just that's a good way to bring him in. Like, he was just pissed off about Thanos trying to control it himself. And he wanted to
control himself.
Yeah, he's not a god. Why is he trying to do this? Like, he's being a little bitch, basically. And and the great thing about Galactus is that he picks heralds, and obviously the most iconic one that we've also seen in past films was the Silver Surfer. And Galactus gives them a part of their power to make them really strong. And recently it was actually Thor. So it'll be. Can you imagine how interesting it will be as if it was one of the Avengers or just one of the heroes or something that hand picks the planets that Galactus has to eat or something? That'd be quite interesting.
Bad. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they get the Silver Surfer and he sort of would be like the Darth Vader sense. Galactus would be the Emperor in that sense. It'd be interesting to see how that dynamic would be introduced, or like you said, sort of tying it in with an existing character already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a cool character. It's funny, in the last one with Doctor Doom, we said that it would be a nice twist from the big bad, from going from someone like Titan with Thanos to go to someone smart like Doctor Doom, and our number one pick is something that's much bigger than Thanos.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do it right, sometimes just dialing up to 100 is the way to go. If you can do it right.
Yeah, I mean, you just if you can build up Thanos for 10 years, you know, Galactus is an entity, so you know, Disney's not going to slow down. It's making money all the time. Like, these films are never going to drop him in how much money they're going to make.
They got the time.
Exactly. They can flesh him out for 20 years if they need to.
I'm just thinking, I wonder if he can smoke weed. Imagine if he gets high and Galactus just goes on a munch trail.
Oh my god, I don't think so, Lou. He's a god, he's pure. He has to remain pure.
He's pure. Can't be corrupted by the devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce, yeah.